Today we are with Herb Kelleher, who is an icon in the airline industry, who has managed to achieve the impossible, and that is decades of profitable, unprecedented growth in a company that's in the midst of a very, very troubled industry like the airline industry. Welcome, Herb.
Thank you, Eduardo. I'm proud to be with you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. You founded Southwest Airlines in 1971.
Yes, we started operating in 71.
Okay. What has Southwest achieved? What has been the achievement? How can you measure the success?
Well, during that time, since 1971, we have never had a furlough at Southwest Airlines. Our people have had total job security, and I think that's something that I'm most proud of with respect to Southwest. We've had the best customer satisfaction record in the industry since the Department of Transportation started keeping statistics. We've been the most profitable airline in the industry with 35 consecutive years of profitability and the leading operating and net margins in the industry, and we've provided a lot of shareholder value. If you had invested $100,000 in Southwest Airlines in 1971 or 1972, it was worth $100 million in 2002. So I think we've produced for all of our constituencies, our employees, our outside customers, and our shareholders. And I'm very proud of that. It's attributable to our people.
Well, I was going to ask that. What's the key behind that success?
Well, we had, I think, a very well-defined strategy. It's very simple, but we've been very disciplined about adhering to it. Our operations were quite a bit different from other airlines, but I really think that our humanistic approach to our people was probably more essential than anything else, because we value them as individuals, not just as workers. We pay an enormous amount of attention to them.
What have been personally your keys to success? Were they your skills, your upbringing? What was special about you?
Well, I don't think there's anything really special about me, except that I have always been very interested in and really liked people, and all kinds of people from everywhere and in all positions in life. And I've enjoyed working with them, and I enjoy formulating teams and getting people to cooperate or coalesce in a worthwhile, hopefully inspiring endeavor. I've always been very team-minded, even when I was small.
An industry that's so competitive, why don't they copy you? Why don't they do the same things? And so there is something special about you.
Well, it's interesting that you would remark on that, because I've always thought that our esprit de corps, the attitude of our employees, was one of our biggest competitive advantages. People like to be treated nice, like to be treated well, and our people do that from the goodness of their hearts. And that is an advantage over other carriers. And we used to hold a corporate day. I don't think I've ever told you this,
no,
but you will remember if I did.
Okay.
We used to hold a corporate day, and companies would come in, not just from the United States, but from around the world. And they would talk to us about how do we hire, how do we train, how do we inspire. Well, to be honest with you, most of them were looking for some little formula that you could put on a blackboard, like E equals MC squared. And it's not formulaic. It has to proceed from the heart, not the head. And it's like a mosaic where you're putting little pieces in place every day. And I think most of them concluded that executionally, they liked the idea conceptually, but executionally, it was just too big of a burden for them. But we had up to, I think on one occasion, 160 companies come in.
So the market wasn't ready to really imitate you, because they imitated the actions and not the philosophy.
Yes, yeah. It was very dumbfounding to us, because a lot of people were very interested in how we did things from that humanistic standpoint. But I think a great many of them, at least, just said, oh my, that's too much trouble.
when I walk into a Starbucks store, like right now, there's a rhythm and a poetry to what's happening around the experience. And to me, that experience has a natural life or a natural soul. Now, when Real Madrid, the team, when I walked in, I went to a soccer game with Plasto. It was 80,000 people singing for 2 hours. That was soul. You know, just an incredible passion and common belief in something. I also think it's not something you can invent or fake. It has to be authentic. I think leadership is about creating a vision that people can believe and see themselves in. But if you're a great leader and you force people to believe, that is not sustainable. You can't dictate to people a sense of belief. A sense of belief has to come as a result of their collective understanding in what the vision is and what's in it for them. When we were in New Orleans in front of 10,000 people, the question was, were we going to leave New Orleans after 3-4 days with 10,000 people believing because I told them to or because they wanted to? And New Orleans was successful because 10,000 people came out of that meeting. They were on fire with passion and belief in what we were about to do. Innovation is everything. But it's not only innovation that is consumer facing. It's also innovation for the values and culture of the company. But any business today, whether it's media-based or technology-based or even Starbucks, every business has to recognize that the status quo is not a successful formula for the future. And you have to kind of move the status quo aside and be willing to almost cannibalize yourself. Because if you don't cannibalize yourself, your competitor is going to cannibalize you. And that's why you must push for your own self-renewal and reinvention, both inside your company and out, where innovation is everything. Now, with regard to innovation, you have to make sure that the innovation is within the guardrails of your business. It's not just innovation for innovation's sake. It's innovation that's consistent with the reputation of what your company stands for.